How do we get the most out of our resistance training with the speed at which we complete a particular movement? Well, first we have to break down what we're talking about in the first place. During any given movement, you're going to see three phases. The first phase is the lowering phase, or stretching of the muscle or elongating the muscle. Second phase is going to be a brief pause, ideally underneath the stretch. And in the third phase, you'll notice that the muscle is contracting or squeezing or shortening altogether. Now, the amount of time that you spend in each one of these phases can influence the results that you're currently getting. Before I get into all the specifics here, there's two things that I want to outline. First, the number one rule here is always exercise in a way that feels comfortable to you. You're the only one here that has all the information. You know how something feels, you know your current fears, you also know your current physical capabilities. So never feel like you have to force a particular way of exercising just because the research suggests one way. And number two, when talking about these phases, they might look a little bit different depending on the exercise, but the principles that I talk about here are going to be applied to every exercise that you could complete. So let's go ahead and jump into some of the guidelines here. So if you're a novice lifter, we're only focusing on two things: stability and control, because in combination, this is what creates your confidence when exercising. And during this time, I just want you to make sure that everything feels like it's natural, because not only are we learning the movements, this is also going to slowly introduce stress to your ligaments, joints, and tendons and prepare them for heavier lifting down the road. A standard suggestion for any novice that's learning a movement would be to spend about 2 seconds in the lowering phase, pause at the bottom for about 2 seconds, and then return to the top at a speed that feels normal to you. Now, that being said, the way that I'm describing this, I'm picturing a squat or let's say a bench press. So if you're doing something like a row, it might be flipped on its head, where you are going to pause not at the bottom of the exercise, but you're pausing when you're squeezing the dumbbell against your back. So take what I'm talking about here and apply it to the exercise that you are currently performing. As you start to refine your ability to do exercises, we can start to take some of the training wheels off. Instead of lowering for 2 seconds, you can lower at a speed that feels natural to you while still feeling controlled. But I still would like for you to pause at the bottom. The reason why is we're going to increase the tension that we're placing on the muscles, tendons, and ligaments by increasing your lowering speed, but you're still going to pause to make sure that we're staying in control. And then once again, returning to the top at a normal speed. By doing so, this is going to allow for us to really learn the movement, really refine our coordination during this particular exercise. And last but not least, if you're an expert lifter, what has shown to build the most muscle is lowering the weight or yourself as fast as possible while being in control, and then just returning back to the top as fast as possible as well. This is going to generate the most force and tension on the muscle, therefore creating the largest muscle building effect. However, this also places a lot of stress on your tendons, ligaments, and joints. So if they're not prepared for this level of intensity, of course it's not going to feel great. So that's why I always suggest starting from the novice side of things and working your way through. The last little thing that I want to cover here when it comes to exercise tempo is that most people will start losing a significant amount of muscle mass after the age of 30. And the muscle mass that they lose is the muscle fiber type responsible for quick, powerful actions. That's why it is essential for us to eventually get to the expert level where we are moving a weight with power and with confidence, because that is going to recruit the very muscle fiber that you are losing so you can actually retain it as you age.